It's a typical night in America. The kind of night that feels like nothing out of the ordinary. The streets hum with the faint buzz of distant traffic, the occasional flicker of streetlights casting long shadows over cracked sidewalks. But in some places, lurking just beneath the surface, there are dangers waiting to unravel a mystery you never saw coming. Imagine walking down a forgotten alley in the middle of the night, the dim glow of a street lamp illuminating the rough-hewn bricks of a crumbling building. You hear footsteps behind you, slow, deliberate. A shiver runs up your spine. You turn. No one is there. You exhale, convincing yourself it's just the wind. But in a place like this, every creak, every rustle, every sound could be a warning. In the distance, the sound of sirens pierces the air. A scream, a sudden flash of red and blue lights. Something is happening, and you don't know what. You step back into the shadows, not knowing that what's unfolding right now is a story you won't be able to forget. Welcome back to Crimes Exposed, a true crime channel. Before we dive deeper into this chilling investigation, I just want to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future uploads. We post true crime, suspenseful stories every week, and each case is more shocking than the last. If you're new to the channel, be sure to catch up with our previous videos to immerse yourself fully in these gripping tales. Now, let's jump right back into our story. It was 2 a.m. when Officer Richard Wells responded to the call that would change everything. He'd been patrolling the industrial district of Newark, New Jersey, a place most people avoided after dark. Worn-out factories, decaying buildings, and vacant lots made it look like a scene from a post-apocalyptic film. But in this city, danger didn't just live in the shadows. It thrived in the open. When Wells arrived, he saw it, a body slumped against the wall of an old warehouse. It was a young woman, no more than 25. Her lifeless eyes stared into nothingness, a trail of blood staining the cracked asphalt beneath her. The crime scene was eerily quiet, except for the distant hum of the city's pulse, a stark contrast to the horror that lay before him. Her clothes were torn. She was barefoot. It was clear she had been dragged here. But what was even more unsettling was a lack of struggle. The silence of her final moments was deafening. Wells wasn't a rookie, but this scene hit him harder than most. There was something about it. Something wrong. It wasn't just the brutality of the crime. It was the eerie calm surrounding it. This wasn't the first body he had seen in his career, but something about this one felt different. He could feel the weight of it in his chest. The initial investigation uncovered some disturbing details. The young woman, identified as Emily Carter, had been living in a nearby neighborhood. She was a college student, a promising young woman with her life ahead of her. But what was she doing here? And why hadn't anyone seen or heard anything? Detective Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned investigator within Newark PD, was called in to lead the case. She arrived at the scene, her eyes scanning the area. It didn't take long for her to spot the telltale signs of a struggle: scratches on the nearby fence, broken glass, and footprints leading deeper into the alley. But what struck her the most was the fact that the warehouse, though abandoned, had no signs of forced entry. Whoever did this had been inside before. They knew the area. The killer had planned this. As Sarah reviewed the surveillance footage from nearby cameras, a new lead surfaced. A car had been spotted near the warehouse at around the same time as Emily's disappearance. It was an old, rusted Chevy, its license plate partially obscured. But the footage wasn't enough to go on. It didn't even show who was driving. Still, Detective Mitchell wasn't one to back down. She pressed forward, conducting interviews with anyone who might have seen something that night. But the answers were scarce. No one had seen Emily. No one had heard anything. The silence of the city seemed to extend to its people. Days passed. Leads turned cold. But just when it seemed like the investigation was at a standstill, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a local bartender named Joe, who had seen a woman matching Emily's description speaking to a man in the alley the night of the murder. Joe was hesitant to come forward at first, but after a little persuasion, he shared what he knew. The man, he said, was a regular at the bar, a quiet, unremarkable guy who kept to himself. His name? Victor Ramirez. Ramirez was in his late 30s, a loner who had recently moved to the area. He worked as a mechanic in a small garage but didn't have many friends. According to Joe, Ramirez had been acting strangely in the days leading up to the murder, drinking alone and muttering to himself. Detective Mitchell immediately took action, bringing Ramirez in for questioning. He denied everything, of course. He had no idea who Emily was, he said. He had been at home all night, but his alibi didn't check out. No one had seen him at his apartment. It was then that Sarah uncovered a shocking piece of information. Victor Ramirez had a history. His criminal record was filled with violent offenses, though nothing had ever stuck. There were rumors, whispers about his involvement in underground fight clubs, his connections to dangerous people. Still, the evidence wasn't enough to charge him, but Sarah knew something wasn't right. She had to dig deeper. As Sarah and her team dug deeper into Ramirez's past, they uncovered a chilling connection to an underground network known as the Vipers. It was a ruthless gang that operated in the shadows, dealing in everything from human trafficking to illegal gambling. They were a ghost in the city, their influence stretching far and wide. Emily Carter, it seemed, had gotten too close to something she shouldn't have. She had been investigating a series of disappearances in the area for a college project. One of her sources had gone missing recently, a woman who had been trying to escape the clutches of the Vipers. But Emily's involvement in this underground world had cost her her life. The closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous it became. And now, it was clear, someone had silenced her before she could expose them. Detective Mitchell was getting closer to the truth, but the deeper she went, the more she realized how vast this conspiracy was. The Vipers weren't just a local gang. They were entrenched in the very fabric of the city, with connections to corrupt law enforcement, politicians, and businessmen. As Sarah pieced the puzzle together, she found herself facing a terrifying reality. There were forces at play far beyond her control, and she was risking everything to uncover the truth. Just as it seemed Sarah had uncovered the full extent of the conspiracy, a new twist emerged. Ramirez was found dead in his apartment, his body slumped over in what appeared to be a suicide. But Sarah wasn't buying it. It was too convenient. She pushed harder, risking her career and safety. What she uncovered next would send shockwaves through the entire city. Emily's death was just the tip of the iceberg. There were dozens of unsolved disappearances, all connected to the Vipers. And the most disturbing part? They weren't just targeting the vulnerable. They were being aided by powerful people at the highest levels of government. As the investigation reached its boiling point, Detective Mitchell was left with more questions than answers. The higher-ups in the city were growing desperate to close the case. But Sarah knew that the truth, however dangerous, had to be exposed. The Vipers were still out there. The city was still corrupt. And despite everything she had uncovered, the case had gone cold once again. The victims' families were left without closure. The conspiracy remained hidden in the shadows. And the city, once a symbol of hope, had become a battleground for power, corruption, and violence. As we wrap this story, we learn that the journey of Detective Sarah Mitchell is not just a tale of crime-solving. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest battles are fought in the shadows. Her relentless pursuit of truth teaches us that no matter how deep the corruption, no matter how dangerous the truth we uncover, the courage to seek justice is never in vain. We may not always get the answers we want, but we must keep pushing forward for those who can no longer fight for themselves. In a world where it's easy to turn a blind eye, let Sarah's unwavering determination remind us that doing what's right is often the hardest path, but it's the one that defines who we are. Don't let the darkness silence your voice. Stay brave, stay curious, and never stop seeking the truth. If you found this story compelling, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more gripping true crime tales. What do you think? Was justice truly served in this case? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation.